Welcome and thank you for joining us in this heart-to-heart conversation. This is a presentation in the Freedom Summit series, Out of the Darkness into the Light. I'm your host, Victoria Hart, and today we're talking with Kim Van de Sande. Now, Kim is a visionary on a mission to guide millions in reconnecting with their love, to awaken their inner wisdom and divine spark. As a sacred architect, cosmic channel, and Akashic Records Master, she empowers others to navigate rapidly changing times, manifest their deepest desires, and fulfill true purpose, fueled by love. She's a two-time international best-selling author and founder of the Founder of Love Mystery School Lineage, channeling divine love teachings for Earth's evolution. Her embodied wisdom fuels her compassionate mentorship, recognizing the transformative power within. Kim finds inspiration in nature and family moments, inspiring others to embrace their limitless potential through love. Kim, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for creating this sacred space, and I'm excited to share this conversation with you and welcome everyone that is tuning in. So thank you.
Yeah, and we certainly are navigating some rapidly changing times in our world today. Yes. And as we awaken to our own inner light, it doesn't seem to come without going through some dark times. So I'm curious, would you like to share a little about your personal awakening and how you perhaps navigated some darker times?
We are really on this rapid ascension, and it feels like a lot of energies are stirring up to awaken our light. But I will share a little bit about my own journey. And throughout my life, there have been, just like you, many challenging moments of losing my father when I was very young. And on my world trip, I got a illness where I was in the hospital for a time. I had certain experiences. A couple of years later, I had a chronic illness, and I don't really want to dive per se into the stories, but what I noticed in my whole life, each time I had a challenging moment like that, for me, it was an invitation to remember a deeper part of myself. And what these moments signified in that time was like a reminder of my soul, like, okay, you're running, you're constantly busy, you're finding everything outside of yourself more important, or you're trying to stay in this space of, okay, I need to be like everyone wants me to be, or like the ideas of the collective. And in that, we get lost, we lose ourselves. And that's what I did in my journey. I started to copy the world around me while I was growing up, because I thought that was the way that we're supposed to live. And in that, I lost the deeper connection with my soul and my inner guidance and my inner wisdom. And for me, each time these significant moments of challenge, of loss, of grief, they opened me to a deeper connection to myself. And now I understand that it was my soul calling to me like, okay, hello, I'm here. Are you ready to listen to the message? Are you ready to connect to deeper layers to yourself? And I can share, I don't know which year it was exactly, but at one point I had a burnout. And I did some inner work. I took out some weeds in my inner garden. I will share that later, but my inner garden, I took out some weeds and I changed my diet and started to look at my health and my energy field, and okay, where am I overgiving and where do I need to hold my boundaries? But the moment I felt better again, I came back into the old patterns, because suddenly I wasn't tired anymore and I could handle anything. And slowly, when we don't change the things at the root, we go back into these old patterns because it's easy, or we're used to it, or we identify ourselves with it as well, because that's an important key as well. We identify ourselves with all the roles that we get, to be a mom, to be an entrepreneur, to be a co-worker, or to be a mother, or like a parent, and to be married, and all of the roles that we have as a daughter and friend. But what I noticed that a couple of years later, my chronic illness came, but it was my soul that already shared with me back then, but I wasn't ready to listen. And now it really faced me, because it was a moment where I couldn't do anything anymore. So it was almost for me, and I get that when you're in that moment, it doesn't feel that way as always, because it's challenging. You feel your limitations, you feel your boundaries, you feel the whole world crumbling. And that is really painful. But for me, it was my biggest gift, because in that moment of stillness and in that moment of not being able to do anything, I reconnected to myself. I could hear the whispers of my soul again. Suddenly the codes of the flower of love that I worked with throughout many lifetimes got remembered. Because that is what I learned in my journey, and that I now get to inspire others on, is that it is a journey of remembering. We do not have to do more. We do not have to learn more. It is, in fact, unpeeling all the layers that are not us, unpeeling all the layers that are not love, and to come back to this compassionate, powerful energy that lives within us. And that is what I got initiated in. But if I wasn't ready to listen before, so I just kept running and doing. And then at one point, my soul became louder and louder. And for me, that manifested in a chronic illness. But the moment I was ready to listen, my whole life shifted. It starts with awareness, with the awareness of the voice of your soul through your body, through your emotions, through illnesses. And it doesn't mean that you do not go through the doctor to see what is happening, but there's a message behind it. You can look at it as a holistic way, and you can see, like, okay, what is my soul? What is my body trying to share with me? And that is for me really freeing in that journey. And also, to go back to the title of this summit, From the Darkness into the Light, it's like, it starts with awareness. And when you know that you can shift your life from within, that creates freedom, that creates power. It's like, okay, I hold the keys, and sometimes they are painful and sometimes they are challenging, but it's time to become truthful with ourselves, because that is the only way that we can move forward. So there are many few pieces in this, but we will roll in it more in the conversation. But yes.
Yeah. I mean, amazing. And you explained that so clearly and so well. And I think, what many of us have discovered or are discovering is that, oftentimes it's that physical incapacity, like we just, like you were explaining, you just were physically unable to do anything more.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes that, to really start looking within. And maybe we've had warning signs up until that point, and we've ignored them, we haven't dealt with our emotions, we haven't dealt with mental stresses, we've just stuffed our head in the sand, perhaps.
Yeah.
It's that physical incapacitation that's really just finally like, oh, you're going to, listen.
Yes.
And so, when in those times when it's very challenging, either when we're going through our own stuff or perhaps we're experiencing stuff with other people, it can be really difficult to love, right? And not go into those emotions of wanting to withdraw and withhold or judge or criticize. So what would you like to share on how people can, tap into that and go down that path rather than going into the victim, I guess it's victim mentality?
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, and it's a beautiful question, because maybe I will explain it in my book. I share a little bit about how we have our field. And within our field, you have the subconscious layers and the conscious layers. So the conscious layers are the patterns, the energies you're aware of. But most of us, like 59% of our field is the subconscious layers. And these subconscious layers, sometimes we don't even know where certain energies has been created, because it can be from a trauma while growing up, an inner child that feels hurt, but it can even be from past lifetimes, family lineages, energetic systems of the collective, and all of that. Those things are all stored in your subconscious layers, and they're interacting with you. And it starts with the awareness that the universe is always conspiring in your favor, even though your human self finds it difficult, your human self finds it painful. But if you can see it that way, you will notice that when you get triggered, when you get activated, or when an illness arises in your body, there is a message behind it. And when you can then center in love, and that is truly a practice, but when you can center in love, you will notice that the trigger, the challenge, the emotion, the illness has a much greater purpose than from the limited self saying, okay, it's trying to hold me back. I'm not being able to do whatever I do. And the judgment comes up, and the fear and the old programming, but it's then becoming aware of it. So I would say if you're on this journey, it starts with first the awareness, like, okay, I see myself going into this old pattern, or I feel my body is draining or is tired, and then come back to your heart and center in yourself and see which part of you is trying to communicate with you. Is it a part you're conscious aware of, or is it maybe a subconscious layer in your field that is arising for you to become aware of it? Because that is what I noticed also in my healing journey the last couple of years. Most of the time, the layers that I got to heal were not even of this lifetime, but they were influencing this lifetime. And you can see it if you go back to this field that is like a bubble around you. And in this field, you have like light spots and dark spots. You have beauty and your shadows. Mm-hmm. And a lot of those we're not just aware of. So the field, we're not even aware of those energies. But they're still influencing our reality. If you then go to the law of attraction, if like for say 60% of your bubble of energy is filled with slower vibrational energies, with traumatic experiences, and you're trying your best and you're doing mantras and you're doing focused work and you're saying, okay, but why is it not working? Because 60% of your field is sending out a different message than you are sending out with your consciousness. And a way to become aware of what is in your subconscious field is through your life experiences. The world is mirroring you, your subconscious field. What are you experiencing? How are your interactions? How are your conversations? How are your experiences? Your body is also a way, your emotions is a way your subconscious layers are communicating with you. So instead of you, when someone is saying something that is hurting you, instead of you diminishing it or saying it's not true, go in communication with yourself. And that is the true empowerment and the true shift that happens when you look to everything that is happening in your life through the lens of love. You suddenly can see the compassion. So for say a wounded part of you is being activated. And if you look to that wounded part with compassion and love, you can suddenly see that it just wants to be acknowledged for a moment. Maybe it has something to share. And then through the lens of love, you're not feeling judgment. You're not feeling like you need to dim it or it's not allowed. No, you can just allow that wounded part to be seen, to be acknowledged. And in that, instead of allowing the energy to stay contracted in your subconscious field, no, it opens up, it expands, and it's no longer sending an energy out into the universe, out into the world, manifesting things you don't want to. And I think that's what I notice in my own journey. Love is truth. And it's coming back to that understanding that we can keep neglecting all of it that is happening, but then you will keep repeating the cycles that you have been doing that are not fulfilling you. So this time and space, and I think also as the earth is evolving and is raising her vibration, it is activating within us our most slowest vibrations, but it is an invitation to become more light, to open these contracted parts that hold wisdom, that hold power, that hold magic, and allow them to expand again so that all of us can elevate, so that all of us can step into our next level. And that is true freedom. But true freedom is not in denying. And I think that's a shift where we're all being invited into, to witness all of you, your shadows and your light with love, because that is the only way we can move forward. Don't be afraid of your shadows. It's just a wounded part within you. It is an inner child part that wants to be loved. Why blame it? Why shame it? Why push it away? And I think there's so much empowering work to do there. So yeah, and especially it is within you. So yes, you can have a challenging relationship with a friend but in the end, you hold the key for change, because the challenge is only there because there within your field, there is a trigger. And if you harmonize your field and purify your field, that friend can say what it wants, but it doesn't trigger you anymore. And you can hold space and love. And in that, you're also becoming the invitation for the friend to have a different perspective. And that works on so many dimensions, but it starts within ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I mean, gosh, what a rich narrative that you just shared with us there. Because it's so absolutely true. Like every interaction, we're being shown through that interaction where there's still parts of ourselves that needs healing. And, what was coming through as you were talking and you actually shared as well is, all these little parts of us are, our little children inside that maybe didn't feel heard and loved as children. And they're just, wanting that little attention and, that hug and that love so that they can, be more embodied within us as the adult selves. And I also picked up, you talked about denial, and that's been a massive one for me and perhaps other people, because, I wanted to see the best in others. And so I would dismiss, the the red flags really, and maybe keep coming back, trying to please people or trying a different way to smooth the situation. And, you know, I had to learn to recognize that I'm being in denial because this is not my truth. You know, this is making me feel uncomfortable. And certainly on my journey, there have been times where I've got those tiny little whispers telling me that I needed to change something. And it felt scary. You know, I was asked to maybe walk away from people or certainly put in a healthy boundary for my own sanity. And sometimes that can be difficult. And that's also when we might loop back in, like you were talking about, you know, going back into our old patterns. So let's talk a little bit more about really how we can trust that life is serving us and those little hits that we're getting to move us forward, and that something greater than us is guiding us. You know, how can we learn more to trust that guidance that we're receiving?
I think for me, it was starting with just taking moments, even if it's 5 minutes a day, to be in stillness with myself. And when you can do that, when you can silence the mind and just connect with your heart for a moment, you will feel the flow of energy running through you. While when you're in your mind and busy and it's contracting, it's controlling, it's busy, it is. But when you feel, even if it's just for 5 minutes a day, this connection with love, you can just for a moment, as you're tuning into this, just for a moment, place your hands on your heart and feel the love. Choose to connect to love. Choose to connect to your soul and your body, and just take a couple of deep breaths to center yourself. And the moments in my day that I did that, my whole day started to shift and I attracted different energies because I stepped out of the way and I allowed love to lead me. I allowed my soul to lead me. It's almost like we're so being conditioned to step into the river, but then hold on to the rock, because the rock is what we're going to do, instead of allowing the river of life to flow through us and allow things to happen effortlessly. But that is, again, a deepening spiral of trust as well, because letting things happen effortlessly isn't always what our mind thinks it needs to be. It was also in me stepping more fully into my mission and my purpose and channeling these codes of the Flower of Love Mystery School lineage. It wasn't like, even in my book, when I channeled my book in 20 hours, but it wasn't that the chapter 1 came in and then chapter 2, like my mind likes the linear way. No, it was chapter 19 and then 8 and I thought, where are they going with this? But I was just trusting and surrendering into, okay, these are the codes that want to come through in this now moment, and I'm just being the vessel and allow them to come. But if I was trying to control it back then, the book was never being done in 20 hours. In 20 hours, a whole book. And that's what I notice each time I am leaping. Magical things start to happen, and suddenly things are happening in a rapid pace that I can't even imagine was possible. And so, but it is practice. So the first times it is a little bit scary because you're also pioneering something new. You're growing and expanding. You're choosing to step into your next level. And that means that certain like safety mechanisms of your mind will get activated.
Yeah.
Because that is also a beautiful awareness that is freeing, is to understand that when you're choosing to grow, when you're choosing to manifest even the life of your dreams, and you're not living it right now, your mind will try to keep you in your current reality. How unfulfilling and how painful it may be, your mind knows you're survived. So it will keep you there. So each time you try to do something new or try to be happy and expand, it will create these limiting beliefs. It will activate that. And then again, it's coming back to the awareness, like, this is not my truth. My truth is love. My truth is this flow that I feel within me. My truth is my first sacred yes I feel when I hear a certain inspiration come or a question. And it's not the mind chatter that it happens after 5 minutes when we suddenly get to think about the proposal, because that's, again, the controlling, holding on to the rock in the river instead of allowing. And I think it already starts, it's understanding that we have been so conditioned that way. If we at our basic school or our first school would have been taught to communicate with our emotions, with our body, to allow our inspiration to lead the way, life would be more joyful, more easeful. We would have less illnesses, less depressions. But we have been conditioned to know it needs to look this way, and you need to be like everyone else, and you need to fit in this box and you need to. So we have been disconnected and now we're learning to reconnect. But that will activate these layers. And then it's you saying to yourself, no, this is not my truth. I am love and I'm choosing flow. I'm choosing happiness. And it doesn't mean it's always blissful, because sometimes it also means like indeed holding space for these wounded parts within us. And that some of these wounded parts, they really need an expression. They need you to cry, maybe scream in your same safe space, express. And in that, the energy starts to move again. So it's also coming back to not being afraid anymore of our excitements, not being afraid anymore of the joy we feel, but the being too much, because that is the life force energy. It's coming back to, okay, what do I feel in an inspiration, and then trusting and leaping, and because in that beautiful things start to happen, and with each step you take, the next step will be revealed, and in that you will get more comfortable in the uncomfortable because it's a whole new world. And but it's that's the strange thing in this world. It is our true nature. That is our inspiration and allowing this energy to flow through us. But we have so been disconnected from that. So it's coming again, unpeeling the layers that are not you, to come back to this essential energy, your purest self. And and that wants to grow, because that's also a reminder. Your soul wants to grow, wants to experience, is here in life to experience. And your mind is here to control and it doesn't mean, again, judging your mind. No, it's understanding and choosing, because it's a choice. I choose to live from my heart. I choose to let my soul lead me every day. Every morning I stand up and I say, love, show me how I can serve today. And in that, it's a following the inspiration that then comes, instead of going with, okay, this is my 100 to-do list for today. And it doesn't mean I don't have certain of those, but it is, okay, what do I feel? Communicate with the subtle energies of your being, and then beautiful things unfold.
That's so true. And I think, one of the denial aspects is actually denying our own power.
Yes.
Like you said, we're so conditioned to play it small and modeling our role models. And, we hear stories all the time of, oh, you're just like your mother, or because we've been conditioned to follow those paths. So it's actually breaking away from those lineage or ancestral lineages of this is the way we do things around here, and finding out for ourselves. And that comfort zone, but half the time we're not happy in that comfort zone. We're unfulfilled and we're looking for something more, but we're too afraid to step out of that comfort zone often. And what I find beautiful about what you just shared is reminding us that life is the adventure. How can we have an adventure if we're in a comfort zone? Having that adventure is delving into the unknown. And then that brings in the aspect of trust again, is that trusting that the more we follow the adventure, we are safe and taken care of, and we can trust that something higher than us is guiding us, and take those steps to really unfold something magical, not only within us, but then in the outer world around us, and what we can offer other people.
What I love in that is also understanding that our soul, in essence, is happiness. So you following your mission, your purpose, means you're doing something that brings you joy, that brings you expansion, that brings you excitement. And I will share a little example. It's almost 1.5 years ago, I got the inspiration to create a podcast. I didn't know anything about podcasting, but a week later, I started my first podcast, and it was just a little bit trial and error. But I followed that initial inspiration, and I didn't know where it led. And within 1 year, there was a book about my podcast, because somewhere in the journey, in the year, a publisher came on my podcast and she was sharing about, why not create a co-author book of your podcast? And I thought, wow, exciting, sharing these codes in beautiful ways. But if I didn't say yes to the initial inspiration of creating the podcast, the book also would have been there. But I could have never thought that within 1 year there was a book and a podcast. But it's again leaping and truly understanding that, like if you co-create with the universe, the results are even most of the time more magical than our mind can ever imagine. Because our mind is also, if you want to manifest a certain thing and you allow your mind to lead, it will always be something that you have seen around you or that you have already experienced, because it is a repetitive thing. But your soul has no limits. The universe, the field of infinite oneness, has no limit. So it is creating something and experience something you have never experienced before, and allowing things to be magicaler. But that is truly, again, stepping into that space of, okay, I have this strong foundation of love within me, this resilient foundation to say yes. And each time, because it's also a cycle, each time we step into our next level, we are faced with a deepening layer of shadow parts that have kept us in that layer. Because if there was no resistance, if we would have a thought, we would manifest it immediately. But we're not manifesting certain things immediately because, again, within our subconscious layers, there are elements that are preventing us currently. So we are being invited through triggers, through activations, through experiences in our life to become aware of these subconscious layers that sometimes are from past lifetimes, galactic systems we don't even know. And that's what I love about the Akashic Records. You dive into these multiple layers. And when we get to harmonize them, we suddenly manifest what we desire in a more magical way. But it's understanding, because I think that's an important key as well in this moment. When you choose to step into your next level, a lot of people also within my one-on-one space, they say, okay, but it feels like I'm setting one step forward and 3 steps back. Yeah. But you're not. You're choosing to grow. And that's why these things get activated. So in a way, it's a gift because the universe is showing you a layer you're not aware of it. And you can push it away, but it's still there. So they're giving you an opportunity for growth, and that creates empowerment, and that creates freedom, because then suddenly you can see your whole experience, your whole life, like this canvas of growth. And show me, universe, I can handle it. Show me so that I can step. And you can keep resisting it for as long as you want, keep repeating the patterns for many years. But at one point you will be done with it. And then the expansion comes, and suddenly the manifestation happens effortlessly. But it's understanding how this mechanism works, these cycles of death and rebirth. And yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, it's important to recognize that when things show up again and we think, oh, why has this come up again? We're actually on that spiral. So, and like you said, we're never given anything that we can't handle. Even if it does maybe feel overwhelming at the time, we only get what we can really handle. And it's another opportunity to just shine a light on something that maybe we weren't able to receive back then when it showed up originally. And so this balance of light and dark, how can we, because some people don't want to look at the darkness, they don't want to look within. So how can we encourage people to take that step, have a look, and sort of reassure? Because I know from myself, as soon as I did look, you're expecting this fear and terrible thing to be uncovered. And actually, it is, like we were saying earlier, these just little children, little versions of ourselves, just wanting to be loved and just tucked away in the shadows, feeling unloved. And we're just bringing those aspects of them into our now. And, there's so many gifts in that. I mean, my inner child is so wise.
Yes.
And so following that guidance is much better than me logically trying to work it out. And the other thing I've noticed is, even if we are reflecting on some darker issues, actually we can still be in that happy space. Because the now is, we're in that happy space, but we're looking at something which isn't really in the now. Does that make sense? Maybe you've got some.
Yes, I love how you shared that. Yeah, because it's most of the time our body that then goes into this feeling unsafe energy and suddenly relives the experience or the energy and feels like it's now, because our energy field doesn't know time and space. So when we connect to that, it feels really real, and then all our safety mechanisms get activated. And that is really it's understanding that that's also really a physical thing. When stress is being activated, or fear, it is also creating a lot of chemicals in our body, a lot of elements that are being activated to make sure that we survive, or that we can run for this lion that is there. But most of the time it is an inner energy, it's not a lion. So, but then still these things get activated in our field. And what I noticed in my own journey And what I get to inspire others in is first creating this foundation of love within yourself, this centeredness, and really coming from this place of feeling supported and connected, because you do not have to do it alone. And it's understanding that you have your soul, your higher self, your team of light to support you every step of the way. But it's you inviting in support. And when you feel support, and when you feel it's almost like your cup is overflowing with love, you can easily and with compassion look at these shadow parts and understand that it's an energy. It is our mind that labels it as good or bad, or fearful or joyful. No, it's just an energy that wants to share something with you, and just an energy again in your field. And you can be afraid of it, but it's still within your field. It has been there for your whole life, many lifetimes, sometimes many dimensions, sometimes. So we can push it away, but that's again coming back to, okay, be truthful with yourself, because when you're truthful with yourself, that's the only way we can truly transform our lives, and that's the only way we can truly elevate. And again, it's also not judging when we're not ready, because that's also fine. Sometimes we still need to learn something from an old pattern or a shadow that keeps repeating itself. And you will notice when you are ready. And then the things come on your path to support you. But it starts with first aligning. So when you feel stressed or overwhelmed or triggered, just take a couple of minutes, sit in your car in silence, like in your own bubble, go to the toilet, sit in your room, take 5 minutes to just place your hands on your heart and focus on your breathing. And by that, you're stepping out of the contraction energy. You're stepping out of the energy of fear. You're calming your body, your soul, your field expands. And it's understanding that when we go in fear, we contract our field and we're not tapped into the infinite field of possibilities. Mm. When we then take, even if it's 1 minute, just take a moment to place your hands on your heart and connect and breathe. You relax, you soften, your field expands again, and suddenly you can tap into solutions. Suddenly your higher self can support you again, instead of feeling like, okay, I need to do it all on my own and I don't know it. And we all know these moments in our lives where we are in this spiral of, okay, it seems to look only more worse. But that is because truly, when we go in fear as well, if you look at the brains, our creative mechanisms are being shut down. It's only survival. So we only have this tunnel vision, like, okay, this is, and in the tunnel vision, we don't see the solutions. We don't see the way out. We don't see the energy of support. We don't feel that there's a whole team of angels and light beings supporting us.
Right.
But when we expand, we can do, and it's also understanding that they respect our free will and conscious choice. So use the power of your voice to invite them to support you. Hold your hands on your heart, breathe, connect to love, and ask your team to support you in this now moment in the most aligned way. And then, because that's an important key, receive the message as it comes. So sometimes it means having a good cry. Sometimes it means just putting under a blanket and just have 10 minutes with yourself, or watch a beautiful movie or anything. But sometimes it comes differently, like, okay, poof, this is the solution. And now sometimes there is a certain expression that wants to happen. But when you allow that to happen, you will not cry the whole day most of the time. Sometimes there are these deeper wounds that need a lot, but it's understanding. It is our mind that thinks, okay, when I'm connecting to the shadow, I will stay in there forever and it will be this dark. No, it's not. There is light, there is wisdom, there is love, because in the end, also these parts are love. And when we come from this centered space, you will notice that, because you're looking through a different lens than the lens of limitation and the lens of, yeah.
No, that's right. And it's finding out what that part of ourselves needs.
Yes.
And then nurturing that. And as you're saying, when we are in that tunnel vision, our mind is kind of like, a filing system. So it's kind of looking for an experience that maybe we've already had that feels similar. Yeah. And then our mind then starts to create a story around, well, it happened like this in the past and therefore this is going to happen again. And so it's really important, like you say, just to drop into our heart, because as soon as we just place our hands there, we're automatically bringing our awareness out of that thinking, chaotic mind and into that more open and calmer space to navigate. So yeah, thank you for sharing that so beautifully.
You're welcome. Yes.
So let's talk, we've touched on it a couple of times, but we haven't delved into it yet. So let's talk a bit about this concept of the flower of love and its significance for this transformational journey.
It's beautiful. And again, for me, I'm also an ever student of these love codes. But yeah, 2.5 years ago, so depending on when you're tuning into this conversation, but I got the privilege to download these codes and what to help. It started, again, that's also a journey of trust. So I got the inspiration for the book. The downloads came in, and the book is really a multidimensional love transmission that is helping you to purify your field. And it shares a beautiful experience of your inner garden. You can also call it your Akashic Records, but to access these subconscious layers, to see like the beautiful flowers that are growing there and blossoming, but also the weeds of the past, of family lineage, and to support you to take them out in a beautiful way with love and compassion, so that your inner garden, your field, is in alignment with your next steps, in alignment with your soul's calling and whatever you desire to manifest. And it's understanding in a beautiful way. It supports to understand the powerful tools we hold within ourselves. And then it's about anchoring your light, because this time and space is inviting us to anchor our light. And what does it mean to anchor our light? It means to feel, to allow our soul to come into our body, into our field, in every cell. And for a lot of us, when we're on this journey, it's very easy to connect to the higher dimensions of us and to connect to light beings, but it's much more difficult to connect to the earthly energies. And that is this time and space inviting us to allow our higher wisdom to come even more anchored into our body. But that also means, as you would see the chakra system, as your higher self wisdom is descending in your body to be anchored here on earth, to be expressed through you, it means also going into the lower chakras, and that is your feeling. So that's why a lot of triggers are coming up right now, a lot of emotions, because as you anchor that, it also means that you need to harmonize, or you're being faced with all the lifetimes where maybe you were persecuted or killed for your teachings, for expressing your voice, for being a witch, for being all of that. And these layers in subconscious ways come up to be seen, to be loved, to be acknowledged. And the moment you do that, suddenly more of your wisdom awakens, because the moment that layer of illusion, fear is stepping out, you suddenly notice, okay, this part of me has so much wisdom. But it was just this safety mechanism holding this wisdom until I was ready, until I was centered enough in love to witness myself and allow this layer to dissolve with compassion, and suddenly beautiful things awaken. And that's what the whole lineage is supporting with. It's beautiful to receive it in energy and anchor it in your body, truly embodying it. But now the next time is really about how, from this embodied state, how do I use it in my everyday life? How do I express it? How do I be? How am I the contribution that I came here to be? How do I allow this wisdom to come forward in the most beautiful way? So I love, but that's what the beautiful thing. So it started with activating the flower of love. There was the book. And I thought that was it. But then they came with the codes of the embodiment, and I created the embodiment journey. And then I think half a year later, the whole lineage came forward. But again, when I started the book, I didn't know it was a whole lineage. And now it starts with the seeds of love, and then activating the flower of love embodiment. And then we go into alchemy and creation. So again, it starts with when you take one step, the next step will reveal itself. And I am also I'm reading my book each time at new. And I find deepening codes, especially because these codes are interacting with you multidimensionally. So your soul and your higher self constantly get new codes out of it. And that's also for me, like, that's what I notice in my journey. We're never done learning. We're always discovering deepening layers of ourselves. And the more we get to interact with the field of love consciousness, or it's the field of Christ consciousness, but in the end they called it love, because also Christ was here to anchor love.
Right.
So when you connect to the field of love consciousness, and the more souls on the world are in the collective field are doing that, beautiful things awaken. But it's almost like that's also an evolution on itself. Like when we're choosing love, and more of us are choosing love, we open higher vibrational wisdom codes within the field. But that is also an evolutionary journey. So I don't know where it's leading, and I'm excited for everything that already is, and in that beautiful things unfold. And yeah, I just get passionate. I can talk hours about this, but
Wow, I can feel it, and it's brilliant. I mean, it's lovely what you're sharing, and it's very coherent as well in helping people take that in, and it really lands in their bodies. And you know, this beautiful adventure that you're living and unfolds every day for you, you know, it kind of makes us feel, well, actually, why do I want to stay in this comfort zone? You know, it can be exciting. And as you shared, you know, you didn't know all of this was there waiting for you, like, and again, kind of hidden in the shadows, right?
yes,
That
it is.
that one step and a bit more comes up. So again, you know, taking that step out of our comfort zone, again, it gives us that reassurance that it's not going to be too overwhelming. You're not going to suddenly be given all of this stuff that you've got to, right, come on, Kim, you've got all of this stuff to do in your lifetime, and this is what it all is. I mean, can you imagine that?
Yes.
And I think one of the key things you mentioned was really about really being able to feel our way through life.
Yeah.
And particularly being raised in England, you know, we're known for our stiff upper lip. We don't talk about our feelings. We stuff it all down. And, you know, certainly for me, that's been quite detrimental over the years. So again, you know, learning to express it. And even if we don't necessarily need to express it to a certain person, just recognizing, well, how am I feeling about this situation or about this person or about this invitation? And tap into that to help make a decision. So let's explore a bit more, because you talked really about embodying this divine union within to help us navigate the challenges of life. And we also understand that, you know, many of us are living very busy lives and doing rushing and busy. So how can we take those moments which you shared earlier about just, you know, pausing, even if it's 5 minutes in the toilet?
Yeah. It is, yeah. No, I love, like, so part of the free offer, but also the paid offer, the offering that is below this video or whatever it's placed, but it's a beautiful morning and evening meditation. So it supports you, like I think the morning meditation is about 7 minutes, but it supports you to align your energy as you wake up to the vibrations of love, and invoke the energies of love and your higher self to support you throughout your whole day. And I'm a young mom, and I have my business and my household and all of it, my mission, my purpose, my friends. But I notice the difference when I take a couple of minutes in the morning to just align my energy, to connect to the field of love consciousness. And in that, my whole day looks different than when I just start to rush. So it's even like I don't have an alarm. My girls wake up at 6:30 in the morning, so they are my alarm. But then when I can take 5 minutes instead of going into the rush of making sure they go to school and all of that, when I take 5 minutes, suddenly things go more effortlessly and go more compassionate and more loving. And it doesn't mean life is not challenging sometimes. And it doesn't mean that, because I'm also daily being invited to step into my next level and to grow and expand and to witness deepening shadow layers in myself, because I'm all about also, when I host these sacred circles or within the lineage, I teach from what I embody. I teach from my own experiences. I'm just sharing, like, I don't know the truth. I'm sharing these codes. I'm holding space with love. And in that, because this journey, like, what I truly love is, like, this journey is about you remembering your light. And I will hold space with love for you to remember, and until you are ready to remember that you are love. So, and in that way, beautiful things happen, and beautiful things awaken. So I would say the morning and the evening meditation already really help to align your energy. You can use mantras and all of that, but it's inviting these expanded ways of your being, and also understanding that when things come up, it's an opportunity for you to discover more of who you are, to discover what is in your subconscious layer. So don't be afraid of that anymore. Now that you've tuned into this, know that it's a gift, and it holds wisdom, it holds power, it holds magic. And it is here to support you. So when you can interact with that in that way, things start to shift. And also, as you shared in just before, like with a friend, I noticed magical things where from the old paradigm, I would feel maybe anger towards someone, or a dynamic was very unhealthy. But when I changed things within myself, not even to the other person, the interaction changed. And that is empowering. That is freedom. That is because I don't need the other one to change. I can change. And in that our dynamic changes so it's really coming back to the sovereignty we hold within ourselves to become the conscious creators of our reality. And that is sometimes also a painful reality, because then people say, okay, but how did I create all of this pain and all of this? But it's not to blame you. It's not to put you down. See your world as a gift, as a blessing. See the little moments of gratitude and see the messages your soul is giving you. And in that, things really start to change. And sometimes it's a deep weed that is being invited to harmonize, but you can do it. Otherwise, it wouldn't come in your awareness. It is coming up because you're ready. And that is understanding, like you're ready to remember.
Yeah, no, that's so true. And I had a conversation recently about, we are creating our reality, and I think it's difficult to get your head around it, because when things seemingly bad show up, but really it's, and again, an invitation to look, what's going on within me that's attracting those energies.
Yes.
They're not loving and kind. What is it about me that's being tolerant of perhaps those things to come in my field? And like you say, as soon as you start to recognize that within yourself and what's not serving you, and shift your own reality and uncover those treasures hidden within yourself, the outer reality changes. But through centuries we've constantly trying to change the outer reality first, and wondering why it doesn't work. So
and it's stepping out of the judgment of like the pattern, because it's also understanding, and that's coming back when you are centered in love, you will see that, like, most of the time the roots, the original creation of that blocked energy in your subconscious field is not even of this lifetime. And when you get to realize that, yes, it's influencing you today and it's manifesting things you do not want, but the origin is most of the time, like, it's coming back to, it's not your fault. Yes, it's painful. Yes, life can be challenging and things can be really in your face. But it's you becoming the detective to see, okay, what does it want to share with me? And what is the origin? And it's not to dive into the story, but to acknowledge the energy. Because with the moment, if you be this detective, like something is triggering in your life and you go on this exploration in your energy bubble, your energy field, and it is locating like, okay, what energy is attracting this? And then it's not about diving in the story, but just acknowledging the energy with love and compassion. And you will notice that the contraction opens and suddenly it's no longer manifesting that in your life, but it's coming, because the moment you go into judgment, you're contracting and you're going into stress in this tunnel vision. Well, in this tunnel vision, you will never be the detective that finds this energy in your subconscious field. No, it is true love that expands your field through your connection, that you will notice like, okay, it's here. Yes, I'm ready to see you, acknowledge you. And in that it opens up and suddenly the pattern is broken. And it's also understanding you're not even breaking it or harmonizing it for yourself. It also supports the collective, your family lineages, and it goes beyond. So it's also honoring the work we're all, each one of us does for the whole field of oneness. And yeah, so it's on this, like, I also really want everyone tuning in to have a message of just honor and gratitude and understanding when you're on this path, you're not only doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your children, your family, your neighbors, all of us. And it's understanding that powerful role. Sometimes we can feel like, okay, what can I make for a difference? But it's such, like, it goes through such profound levels when we choose to break a cycle of the old within ourselves, because in some way that dynamic was related to a lot of other things in the world. And when you choose to center in love in that dynamic, suddenly the whole world's dynamic changes. And that I get goosebumps. That ripples out in so many ways. Yes.
Oh, it's so true. And what you were saying earlier, a lot of the stuff that we're holding are not even ours. And, what came to mind is certainly, and you did touch on it earlier, is, as particularly as women, if we were very intuitive or whatever, we were labeled as witches and burned at the stakes. Of course, if that's held in our cellular structure or our DNA carried through the generations, then of course we're going to be more cautious about speaking up, because even though we don't know where that fear is coming from, we're recognizing that there is still this fear in our body. So I'd love for you to share a couple of things, and then we'll move on a little bit to talk more deeply
Yes.
about what your offering is today and how people can work with you. I'd love to know, what does freedom mean to you? And as we start to move throughout this year, have you got like a transmission that you would like to bring through to support people in uncovering their freedom?
Yes, I love that. Freedom for me is following my heart, being centered and aligned to love, and feeling the resilient foundation in myself to just being able to say yes when inspiration comes, but also yes when a challenge comes, because then I know I'm ready for my next level because there's something to break. So for me, that is freedom, because then I can be this expanded way of my being, and because that's also what I love. Like even, and then I will share a beautiful transmission. Let's see what wants to be shared. But also in promoting the energies or sharing the codes of the Flower of Love Mystery School lineage, it is my inner work. So that's the way, like I like also being visible out there is me being visible to me. And what I notice each time I harmonize a shadowy part in my field, suddenly beautiful souls find the teachings in magical ways, not via the normal ways. And that's also a shift in perspective, like the power that our inner work holds to change our lives, to change the way we receive our abundance. We get to serve in the world, and it's so beautiful. So that's freedom, because then we suddenly have the freedom to do what we want, and suddenly we download a book in 20 hours instead of years. No, but see what for freedom that creates. It's like, yeah. So open your mind, open your heart, tune into love, and embrace everything that is coming up. So we'll see. Let's see. I want to invite you to go with me on an inner exploration, and first inviting you to close your eyes and place your hands on your heart. If you are driving or doing something that is asking your attention, please pause the video for a moment. And for the rest of us, just close your eyes. And just for a moment, allow yourself to center into your body. And it's just following the guidance of my voice, and then it already happens. Your energy will follow your awareness. And as you connect to your heart, your portal of love within you, we invite your higher self, your team of love and light, to support and nurture your body, inviting in the codes and the frequencies of the Flower of Love Council and the field of love consciousness to come around you, to connect with every cell of your body, with every part of your being. You can feel this like a warm blanket embracing you, holding you, reminding you that you are love, and there's nothing you have to do. It's just inwardly saying yes to receive. And just for a moment, allow these cosmic love codes to support you to nurture every cell of you. Usare sumate usare kametare sa. Tumare sutare kimate dumare sa. Tumare sumate dusare kametare si. Tumare sutare kimate dusavedi. De suvare si. And as your body relaxes and your field expands, it might be that certain parts of your body are calling your attention. Maybe you feel some emotion rising. And it's feeling how the Flower of Love Council is supporting you, it is nurturing you, is holding space for you to allow these parts to be witnessed and to be seen. And for some, it will be a very clear signal or a very clear energy coming up, an emotion, an experience, a certain person that is now coming in your awareness. It is inviting you to witness this experience through the lens of love. Ekumakare sumate, kukare simate, ukare kimate, kukare simate, ekumakare simate. To notice the energy the vibration, the color, ekumakare simate, kukare simate, ekumakare simate, and to feel how you are sending a beam of love towards this energy, sending it codes of love and nourishment, and your higher self is already supporting you in a beautiful way. It's you allowing yourself to be the vessel of love, fully supported, nurtured. Kumakare sumate, kukare simate. And notice what happens when you're sending love to this energy that is ready to transform in this now moment. And for a lot of you, I already feel a lot of expansion of your heart. Because most of the time when we connect to this energy with love, it already shifts immediately. And some of you will have like an energy that needs a little bit more time, but it's setting the intention. It is holding space with love. It is allowing this part of you to be seen, to be acknowledged. And this is not hard work, it's just allowing. Feel how the codes of love are supporting you. Ekumakare sumate, kukare simate, ekumakare simate, ekumakare simate, ekumakare simate. And you can visualize this like you being a beautiful air balloon. And the slower vibrations within your field are the bags of sand hanging on your air balloon basket. And you're choosing to see your life and experience your life from a higher vibrational state of consciousness. And as you are trying to raise your vibration and to step into your next level, certain bags on your air balloon basket become too heavy. And they are being invited to be harmonized, to be released. So in this time and space, it's not about just quickly cutting the cord and allowing this bag to fall away. No, it is with love and compassion, thanking the energy for how it served in the past and past lifetimes, acknowledging it and allowing it to slowly dissolve. And as these bags then slowly dissolve, feel, sense, notice how you can rise even higher, how your frequency elevates. And you can suddenly see your life from a totally different perspective. Because in this higher vibrational state, suddenly more of your wisdom codes awaken, more of your magic, more of your inner knowing. From this higher vibrational state, suddenly your interactions change. Your connections, your experiences, the places you visit, it all looks different. And it's just for a moment allowing yourself to, again, ask to your soul, to your higher self, to your body, to your field, what it wants to share with you right now. If there's maybe still a bag that is ready to be harmonized in love, that is ready to dissolve back into oneness and wholeness. Ekumakeru sare kumate kukare simate. Ekumakare simate kukare simate. And then allowing this energy to be dissolved with love, with compassion. And it's already understanding that there's so much and more energy coming through beyond these words. So as you tune in to love, you're tapping into a whole field of consciousness, of elevated states of being, tapping into the field of infinite possibilities to support you. And love is an anchoring word, but as you say love, just repeat it, love, love, love. You're tapping into this field, you're consciously choosing through the power of your words to invite love to support you. And it's understanding how this works, the alchemical power of your words. Because a lot of bags of sand are also created through the words you chose to use, through the conversations you chose to happen. And it's understanding that the power you hold to create through your words. So speak about love. Speak about love and joy and gratitude. Speak about what you desire, what you like, what you appreciate. And let go of the bags of sand that do not serve you anymore. So in this now sacred moment, we invite your higher self and team of light to dissolve the bags that are ready to be dissolved without knowing, because some are ready to be dissolved in this now moment. Allow it to happen in the most aligned way. And feel how you can raise your vibration even more, how your air balloon is rising higher. And as your air balloon is rising higher, feel the softness in your body, the relaxation. It is you being in the river of life, allowing life to guide you. Even if it's for your human perspective, just a couple of minutes, this already creates so much change in the rest of your day, the rest of your week, the rest of your life, because you're choosing a conscious moment of realignment, of centeredness and connection to love. So allow the energy you're experiencing right now, the expanded ways of being, allow that to be anchored as codes in your body, in your field. Taking the energy of this with you throughout your day. And knowing that you can always come back to this place as it is part of you. This is your true nature. And the more you start to recognize that, the more you start to feel that in every cell of your body, in every part of your being, the more you can bring your awareness back to this space. The moment you went out of alignment, the moment you started to contract. And then it's through the power of love that you're able to open your field again, to step into this air balloon and allow it to rise higher. As that is true freedom, seeing, experiencing your life from this higher vibrational state, allowing your choices, your next steps to be aligned from this centered space. So as this short transmission is almost coming to a place of completion, consciously feel again how your hands are on the portal of your heart, bringing your awareness back into your body, into your field, taking the expanded codes and experiences you've just received back into your physical reality, into your physical understanding. Notice how your field, this beautiful bubble of energy around you, feels more lighter as you have just harmonized the slower vibrational energies that were ready to be harmonized in this now moment. Just take a couple of deep breaths to fully anchor all you've just received, inviting that it's being integrated with ease and grace, thanking your higher self and team of love and light, thanking your beautiful physical body that allows you to experience this earthly journey, that allows you to anchor your codes here on earth. And thanking love. So for now, I invite you to come fully back into your body, slowly moving your fingers and your toes. And whenever you are ready to open your eyes, and maybe give yourself a beautiful hug by rubbing your arms. Because that's an important part as well. Really honor your physical body because it has went through so much and it is your vessel for this lifetime. It's almost as if you look at also the journey of Christ, of Jeshua, he was able to be the change by being in physical form and showing us what we were capable of are in physical body. And that's the same what you're doing. You are all beings of light on this earth, but we can only be the change by embodying our wisdom, by being the example, by showing others like this is what you're capable of. What I'm doing, you're able to do as well. see you, because we're all mirroring each other. So see the beauty, see the power, see, but also truly honor our physical body. It's not against us. We need to honor this temple and love it. And that's, co-creating with all the elements of it. So thank you.
You. Yeah, that was so nice. And as you began singing in those love codes at the beginning, it was just like a soothing lullaby. I could feel like the cells in my body just being soothed with the tone of your voice. And yeah, I did feel lifted and expanded, like imagining myself going up in this hot air balloon. So thank you.
Yeah. And that's what I love about light language and these cosmic love codes, because we all have safety mechanisms. So what I notice when certain things are being transmitted to words, our mind can interfere and our mind can create a wall or a barrier. And that's what I love also in my one-on-one spaces. There's a certain point where the light language comes through, but it creates almost like this portal opener. Suddenly it goes beyond the mind's understanding and communicates with your cell, with your soul, with every element of you. And in that, we're able to bypass that energy and suddenly expand again and go into a deepening layer of ourselves. But it's just in a soft, beautiful way, again, from love. It's not a bit hard force. No, softness and love, because that is true power. That's true, transformation.
And it feels powerful, and it's a different powerful energy because it's not smoother, it's not overbearing, overpowering.
No, because even in the world, like a lot of, like you can fight the dark with the same way, but then in a package of light, but that doesn't work. It's holding space with love, and it's the same with our inner. It's holding space with love. It's not fighting, because fighting is again contracting, or
Nice.
Love does the work. We don't have to do it ourselves.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, that's reassuring. Yes.
Oh, Kim, I've loved our conversation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
As we come to the end, I just would love you to share anything more that wants to come through, and then perhaps just share a little bit more about this beautiful offering that you're bringing today, which will really help people become their inner detective. I love that. And start, detecting, well, who really am I? What have I come to offer the world? And what is unique and wonderful about me? Which, when we're too busy seeking outside of ourselves, we're not open to receiving.
Yeah. I think for now, I would say follow your heart. You have been guided here for a reason, and maybe it was already this transmission that unlocked so much for you. But it's tuning in to your body, to your cells, tuning into this first initial sacred yes you're feeling, and in that beautiful things open. And if you feel scared, if you feel overwhelmed, or you invite the power of love to support you, because love, it is here to support you, and you are here for a reason, and it's understanding that you are here for a purpose, but it's all within you. Like all these codes are within you. And that's what I love about the offer as well. It's called the Seed of Love, the Awakening Toolkit. And you have the morning and the evening meditations, but there are also 3 longer meditations that support you, almost like a first aid kit. There's one meditation that's supporting you to, when you feel overwhelmed or when you feel triggered, or to recenter yourself. It really supports you to invite this field of love and guide you on a beautiful journey to connect to these deepening layers of you. And then there is a beautiful meditation that is like a love amplifier, because the more love we embody, the more love we attract. So it's a beautiful way to remind you of your inner beauty, of the codes you carry within you. And that moves into the 3rd meditation in the toolkit. And that's really connecting to your wisdom codes, because it's about understanding that all the codes are within us, within our DNA, within our body, within, it's almost we're searching out there, or we're searching out there. But you as a soul all took it with you into this beautiful vessel. And that comes again about honoring your body, because the wisdom is within your body, within the codes in every fabric of you. And it is when you center in love that these layers awaken, and that they open, and it's a deepening spiral. So that's what I love about this toolkit. And it's only €27. it really helps you. It's like you have the morning and the evening meditation to set your intention. And then you have, whenever you feel called, these 3 meditations. There's a powerful invocation you can say in the morning. There are mantras and mudras. And it's like almost like an initiatory step into how can I co-create with love? How can love support me to serve others, to stand in my light, to stand in my truth, to harmonize my bubble? And yeah, so I'm very excited about it's really, yeah, it's you saying yes to you. And the more you embrace this love, the more you will remember, because it's not per se about this will always be your journey. No, it's you reminding your gifts, your talents, awakening your tools. But it is through love, it is through compassion, it is through someone holding space for you to remember. Because also for me, I sometimes in my journey also have my own blind spots. And then it's someone else holding space for me to go by that, and instead of constantly looping in the same. And that doesn't mean we're weak. No, it's powerful. And I think that's a paradigm shift as well. It's powerful to remind ourselves that it's okay to ask support. It's okay to sometimes not know, because in the not knowing, the answer can come instead of. So it's constantly being in the openness of ask questions, go in communication with your soul, with your body, with your emotions, be on this detective, this inner exploration, like what is the world? What is the universe trying to share? And what is my next step? And get excited about life. And I know it's not always easy, but if you raise your vibration, you can see it from this highest perspective. And then you suddenly see that the challenge is not a challenge. It's an invitation, and there's magic and there's wisdom and there's opening. And yes, so I would say follow your heart, and thank you for tuning in, because when you're tuning into this, you're on a pioneering mission. And I know it's not always easy, and together we can inspire each other to become the best version of ourselves and remember that we are love. So thank you.
Absolutely. And just to add on to that, from what you were sharing, we think that it's got to be hard work and all this effort, and actually this beautiful offering just sounds so simple to open those gates, I guess, to that.
And again, because from this higher perspective, you start to understand that the old life is hard work, and that is like the old way we were used to doing things. That's really hard work. When you allow yourself to lead, yes, sometimes we have an emotion that is coming up, but for the rest, it's very joyful, very peaceful, very exciting and opening. And yes, so it's again a shift in perspective. And yeah, thank you.
Well, I encourage you to everyone to take a look at that and enable yourselves to really connect more deeply within, with the loving support of our beautiful Kim.
Yes.
I've been speaking with Kim Van de Sande. She's a sacred architect, cosmic channel, and the creator of the Flower of Love Mystery School. And thank you for listening to this Heart to Heart presentation, brought to you by theconsciouscreationcoach.com, empowering you to create a new story of your life.